There it is. All right. Sorry, thought I had my mic on. I didn't. Okay. Hi. How are you? I got today's page up. Get my big head out of the way in just a second. There we go. So here's today's page. This suggestion came in from a friend, Heather. I try to get to suggestions as soon as they come in. I don't always do that. But especially when they come in from new folks, because I really do appreciate people making the suggestions. Today was a funny one. King Arthur had a balloon sword. That's great. That's so great. You know, how do we know he didn't? How do we know there really was a King Arthur? Hi, Linda. Welcome aboard. Hiya, Tim. So I'm back on the horse as of today. I've been away between conference and XYZ, bunch of commission work trying to get done. I'm back. Prepare yourself. So, we'll be doing some more one-page stories as well as other art and craft images. I'll show you something. Before I forget, let me get the original up on the camera for today. And there we go. It's sideways. Bingo. There we are. So here's today's one page. The original art for that. It's just drawn with a pencil. And it's just drawn straight on. No change to the art pretty much at all, other than just cleaning up the edges with an outline. So this is our one-page story based on Heather Kay's suggestion of King Arthur had a balloon sword. So there we go. Thank you so much, Heather, for that suggestion. I appreciate it. All the kids back home appreciate it. So another thing I've been up to is that I keep making I've been making lots of platonic solid things, shapes, and you can see, maybe not, camera's not quite there. There's a load of them. Now I'm doing them through origami and I'm doing through template, but there's a whole load of them on the shelf behind me. And I plan on doing something with these, but I've got 11 done now, and the whole plan of these things is to show people how, maybe if you have, I don't understand shapes. Okay, well, maybe if you have a bunch of shapes behind you on a shelf, like I do, or in your workspace someplace, that you can start to understand how. And there's two things I think we might apply these. One is how you can look at those shapes for drawing objects and realize that if you start figuring out how to make said shapes, like, just a second, we're almost there. I'll put this together after, but here is one more shape to add to our collection. Almost there. There we go. So here is yet another shape that we'll be putting on our shelf after it's all assembled. I'm just going to put one piece of tape on it, and that should help me with the assembly process after. Christopher, why aren't you taping or gluing those? Because tape was closer. The great resounding logic of Christopher generally says the immediate thought is the wherefore and why. So there's yet one more shape. And what I'm saying with using these is that you can have, you can like pile them up together and maybe design from those if you're trying to figure out how do I design some objects or a spaceship or whatever, and then having just a random assortment of these available. Right? Now you've got the front part and the next part of a space truck. I don't know. See, the whole point of this is whatever small steps that we can take in order to actualize our imagination, you'd be amazed what that can enable us to come up with. So also, if I'm figuring out how to draw things and how shadow works on objects, okay, let me move this out of the way. Oh, I'll just flip it over. How's that? So if I place this on here, okay, now I have a light source coming directly from overhead over here. So when I place this down, you can see the cast shadow from the object. So when I'm learning how do shadows work, this is a great way to help me figure that out. Now, there's a second light source over here. So this side is really lit up. This is the darkest side. This is fairly dark because of the direction of that shadow. But 1, 2, 3, 4 sides are fairly illuminated. And again, another lesson that we can learn from our shadows. Now, you can see because of the light source over here and light source over there, look at that dark little triangular shadow in there. Oh, world changing. So that's what these putting together these solids is a sort of fun experiment to do, because it's teaching us, let me grab one more. It's teaching us how light works. How about you just stay there. All right, so here, now ignore my finger, okay, but here again is another example of really bright, not as, there's a bit of cast light because we got a second light source coming here, but there's our dark shadow. So, you know, whoops, I'm sorry, I'll move it over. There we go. So there's the off light from this one. There's a deeper light from that one because it's a more direct source. But then here's our darker shadow, mid shadow, no shadow. And so, and this really deep cast shadow on the inside of this. So this is the sort of stuff that we can start to figure out utilizing these shapes. And so if you're in a course of drawing, you're trying to figure out while you're drawing how do shadows work, having some of these shapes kicking around may very well illuminate, oh, terrible use of a word, but it may very well help to inform you on how light works and how it's the same thing this way. That's because it's a pyramid. All the sides of the shape are the same. Come on. So here we are again. Let me see if I can move this on a nice little angle. So here is, see how our shadow now rests underneath of our shape? It starts over here instead of just off the corner. And we've got this deeper shadow across there because of our two light sources. But this through here is all a unified shadow. Move it over again, I'm sorry. It's kind of cool, huh? Kind of informs us. See, here's our bigger, I'm sorry, trying to hold on to it. So here is our larger shadow area, but then there's an inside shadow in this area that comes off of this bottom corner. That's awesome sauce. So yeah, so I'm putting together a whole bunch of these, and we'll do it on a very nice surface. I've also got this surface that might be of benefit to us in this case. Just give me a second. It's stuck right there, isn't it? Okay, here we are. So this graph may work to our advantage in assessing shadows and how this all works. This graph may well be what we require to help us to have a real understanding. I'm trying to figure out, oh, I know what I've done. Excuse me a second. There we are. I think that'll be good. So if we've got this light source down here, down below, okay, and it's allowing us to have this sort of real sense of where things are. I cut the one light back just because that really primarily just illuminates me. Hey Liz, welcome aboard. Shadows have always been a challenge for me. So maybe this shape method will work, because if we put our first shape, now I'm going to move this on an angle like so, and excuse the circles on the sides, okay? Now, I've put our first shape, there we go. So, top down, right? You can see because our light source comes from this way, you can see these two dots appear to show you where our light source is coming from. Here's this soft shadow coming off of our pyramid shape. But because there's a more immediate light here, look at that hard shadow that comes through there, but here's our third shadow, the soft shadow that's coming from that side. So, and then we can see, of course, our bright source, shadow. And then our little shadow in here. Oops, I'm sorry, I moved it. And our deeper shadow right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shadows. Weird, huh? So what I figured was, by putting together a bunch of these shapes, and we'll just have a stream where I only talk about the shadows projected from those shapes. And having a graph source may well be better for people to understand those relatable numbers in space, right? So if we put our space locked up to the graph, so in this case our object is the pyramid, but so if we put it up specifically measured to the graph, that may well help you to track those shadows and how they space themselves out, right? So you know our object that is in space here is, we've got, whoops, I've made a mess of things here, and I really apologize. I'm trying to get myself sorted. So here's our space, here's our graph system in place. Okay, now we place our object on it, and you'll have to forgive me, or maybe I'll use tape to hold them down. But there's our triangle on the graph. So now you can calculate where those lines are. So now as we see how the shadow works, we can see that it bops out a space and a half over here. It follows along through. Here's our second shadow source there. But because of our light source over here, ooh, comes through over there. There's our darkest shadow. Carries its way across into our soft shadow over there. So there's all of these interesting combinations of light that play out because of how our light works, and we're using two separate sources for that. There's actually a third source in this, and what that is that I have an overhead light here, and I have a corresponding overhead light on the opposite side of my studio. I turned it down to match it to the source here, because this one over there is very bright. And so because of that, that's meant to represent the ambient light over top of us or the sun. But on a subtle day where the sky is just, there's no real bright yellow light source, it's sort of a light blue throughout our sky. There we are. So this is me trying to make a clearer understanding. So I'm putting together a whole bunch of shapes. I'm missing one more platonic solid, but then I've got, smaller volumes as well that'll help us to understand. So here we are with our big, fat, chunky triangles, right? Here's your standard equal measurement triangle, but with a long rectangular form to it, to our three sides. So that, and then of course the opposite. So when we have this prism applied to this triangle, see how it makes more interesting shapes. And we have a similar thing here, equal triangles, which should be the same, although this is not. It's a stretched one to the top. And there's our rectangular shapes on the sides, square shape on the bottom. So all these different combinations of shapes. But I'm missing one platonic solid, so I want to get that finished for you. I'll just show you a couple more before I get into the platonic solids, because I don't want to give away the surprise. So here we are again, very thin rectangle here with a really stretched lead to point at the top with our rectangular shapes on the sides. And then one more is broad base, equal triangular movements at the top. But, or no, I'm sorry, this is a right angle acute. So this is so many triangular shapes I'm trying to keep in mind. I have 8 separate triangles alone I've made over here. And I'm trying to remember all their names, which is not easy for me. So here's our right angle triangle. Pretty straightforward, right? Like on a graph. Oh, it's on a graph. So, but when we apply that to our surface, look at the interesting, well, my finger's just too big in the way. I'll put a piece of tape down, hold it down. Get old big finger mitts out of the road, right? Get your finger out of the road, Runsman. So let's put a piece of tape on the bottom of this, and then we'll stick it to our surface. Stuck. Magical. Oh, look at what's happening now. So here's our triangle shape. You can see our one light source, and if I just see 1, 2, 3 light sources, there we go. So I'll try to get those out of our road. Get a little more flat plane here. There's going to be a dip over on this side. It's completely how it is. Now, maybe if it would be better if the graph paper wasn't as shiny as it is. But what we've got here is one solid light source there that makes a real shadow, soft shadow for our acute triangle. But really bright source, not as illuminated source, very dark source. And it makes this wicked, really dark cast shadow there. So there's at least 5 recognizable shadows, because if you see our soft shadow goes out like this, and our other soft shadow goes like that. Oh, Chris, could you make this any more boring? But the whole idea of what we do with all this combination of shapes is what's going to sort of maybe expand how it is that we illustrate images in our projects. Because if you can start to figure out all of these basic shapes, maybe there's benefit for you in that. I've been deciding on whether or not I have this in the background, whether or not I put the frame format back here. It really does matter what the light source is underneath, and I've already got this measured frame here, which is far less complicated with lots of small squares, but we'll figure that out as we go. My neighbor chooses to mow the lawn now. I swear, my neighbor chooses the lawn least time when I want him to. So I apologize if there's that buzzing hornet noise in the background. The last time he mowed the lawn was, and you know, he's got to mow the lawn, he's got to mow the lawn. But the last time he mowed the lawn was when we were having Lori's family over for lunch. So anyhow, there's our penciled page, penciled original underneath my big head. And here it is in our finished page for today. So, ooh, the excitement. Chris, can you be more and more exciting? Maybe. We're going to do something today that I haven't done in a little bit. I haven't done in a hot minute. Crinkling plastic. And what that is that we're going to do a one-page story today. I'm getting set up as I'm talking. Now, we're going to do a one-page story today. The reason that I'm using this is because the lines show up so much better, but I'm going to show you how to fold one for anybody that might join in today that hasn't folded one yet. But what this is an example of something that I've done a number of over time. Now, I thought I'd update you on 2 things. I showed these briefly but I thought I'd show them in a collected format. These are the space cards that I've done. I was asked recently about have I ever done collector cards. This is all the space cards for a series that I'm putting together a proposal for. So this is all different space cards for that. And having a bit of fun with that. And I'll zoom in a little bit and I'll get my lights turned back up again so that I can show you these. All right. There we go. So these are the space cards that I've been doing for this project. And all the different space scenes in that. The L theme throughout everything. Just playing with shapes and playing with fun and trying to make some interesting environments. And look at the shapes. Lots of shapes. Lots of shapes in our fun environments, huh? Okay, so there's our space card collection there. Now, what we're talking about today with this is these. These are one-page stories that I've done in a zine format. Now this one's based on a story by Janet, our friend Janet online here. And I wrote down Janet's last initial and I forgot it already. But this is what this is a singular piece of paper. Like so, the same as our formatted page that I put together that I'll show you how to fold in a moment. And you make one cut. You've got to make one cut, folks. Just a singular cut. Man, my finger looks long. A singular cut. I don't know why it is, but it is. So, okay. But there it is. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. This is a slightly larger piece of cardstock that I have here. But I will also use this 8.5 piece of paper. I don't know why it looks larger. Maybe because I trimmed it. Maybe. That's how it printed, right? So this is our page. And it is done in this shape, in this format, so that each of the panels are equal in size. But what it also informs us of is the fact that we need to do half of our pages upside down. And if we're going to do it specifically so that it can just be reprinted in this way, 1, 2, 3, 4 upside down, 1, 2, 3, 4 the opposite direction. But our page in this format has this is a fan fold opening in order to make our booklet. Now I believe the jewel which is a similar presentation and style. We've got one direction of images and the opposite direction of images. First page is upside down, last page is from the last page. But what I've done here is that I've tried to do all of the folds as 2-page images. I'm trying experiments with every one if you haven't figured it out quite yet. Hiya, 7. Welcome aboard. Glad you're aboard. Hello. So here's our cover and our back cover, which is a singular image. But they fold over so that our title and our name is on one side. The big closer is on the opposite. This is the jewel of lawn chairs. And I'll read this through to you because I'm a giant nerd. There are many kinds of lawn chairs for people to choose from. What better way can one think to rest themselves outdoors after a challenging day? Is there any insight into a person's character to be gleaned from the type of lawn chair that they prefer? There's our ghost chair. There's our plastic form chair. I'm sure that the placement of said chair in their environment has meaning as well. When I say lawn chair, it is important to understand what I mean is not a chair actually made from a person's lawn. Oh, see where he went there? He's silly. Please don't be ridiculous. I speak of the various types of chairs that one uses in backyards and other outdoor settings. There's a metal frame canvas center chair. It's a window. What's in there? We can't see. Here's a metal-shaped chair with a metal case frame. Attaches there, and there, and one in the back. Why does Chris know this? Because he looked at one of those chairs. But the ergonomic shape is really exciting. Lawn chairs are often found in use on people's patios and deck areas as well. There's so many ways a person may elect to use them. Primarily, they are sat upon. So I've ghosted one image over top of another here. So this is why you've got your changing perspective lines. Because I wanted to show this balcony that has a central, or this deck that has a central circle on it. Just ask, primarily chairs are sat upon, just ask the singer-songwriter, Jewel. I get it. The jewel of chairs, the jewel of lawn chairs. Yeah, she's not big on the pun. So there's our nonsensical, silly thing. I did this up in cottage country at a friend of ours' place. And had some good fun with it. There's your standard folder with your latticed pattern of fabric that goes throughout. And so this is the jewel of lawn chairs. So each of the one-page stories is assembled in this fashion. Now this one was lawn chair, jewel, and backyard, I think it was. It was the 3 words that were suggested for this story. Beavers blinking and boisterous was this one. So it's a beaver. What? On this one. Okay, here you are for a silly voice from Christopher. You ready? What? I don't mind toot my own horn. I had an adventure. A cup of tea? Aye, sounds lovely. So anywho, I saw this beautiful peach tree. I knew they grew it for me, so I took it. There he is. Blink. That's a blinking. Blink. Tea, thank you. So then, so what happened then? Right. Some lady chased me all the way to the river. That's our friend Janet who suggested this page. She got me in the eye with her broom. Blink, blink. Got that tree though. There's our whole story. Silly business. Silly business. Okay, so this is a narrative story done in the fold pattern for a 9-page format. So why is there a fold pattern? So you don't have to cut anything. Whereas with this center fold format, you got to make one cut. Now you can also use this to make a mouth. Hey, hi kids. Anyhow, so these are both different formats. But what these are is this is drawn in marker on a piece of paper. Simple little drawing markers, okay? And this is drawn in mixed media format. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a scribbled pen colored by marker, and with some marker pen or some acrylic marker, I mean, in that as well. So there's your second one. Now, I've done a number of these using different methods and approaches, and so I thought I'd show those. So I'm reaching over to get something. There we go. So this is a slap and drag technique. So what this is that there's ink already splashed onto the piece of paper and then drawn over top of with pens and acrylic paint marker. I believe it's a marker. So this, the 3 suggestions, and it's bad. I ran out of ink while I was printing this one out. Hey, you! So this is, there's already scribbled imagery on the page as well, because someone said, I always worry about wrecking a page. I said, scribble on it first. And then went over top of it and drew a comic. So that's what that is. So that's this. The 3 words for this are laughter, armadillo, and hardware store, a hardware tool. Armadillo, tools for today's tradesman. So I've incorporated those 3 words into this one. This is another open fold, right? Accordion fold page. Why? So you don't have to make a cut in the middle. This is the easiest one to do when you're working with kids. I'm a painter. This is a fold that has a open cut. And this is entirely drawn in ballpoint pen. And I've also scribbled on the surface to alleviate the concerns of somebody that if I scribble on it, it's ruined. Nope. Just draw over top of your scribble. Because you can see the scribble in the face, in the body. It doesn't matter. Let it go. Move on with your life. The fold and the pages, the panels, and the drawings are what counts. The scribbles, the people just go, why is there a scribble there? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So here's another one. Here's a Gothic evening. The suggestions for this is Gothic, pink, and cave. So being the silly person that I am, a Gothic evening. This is pink. This is Nick Cave. See what I've done? Two of the suggestions out of the way right at the beginning. And the whole story is Gothic. Let's get this party started. That's a Pink song that I've referenced there being said by Nick Cave of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. What a swell party this is. It's a song he sang with Deborah Harry. Yeah, they're on a road trip. This is a fancy Gothic castle they're coming up to. We're coming up. I wrote another reference to that same song. Coming up, so we'd better get this party started. See what I did there? Cheeky monkey. Knock, knock. So this is drawn in pencil and white pencil with a jelly pen on a tan piece of paper. So, knock, knock. That's Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yes, the master is expecting you. And this is Terry Gilliam from Monty Python playing his piano saying, it's just a jump to the left, which is a reference to the Rocky Horror Picture Show done by a guy from Monty Python playing with no pants. So, an RKO picture, another reference to the out of the RKO Gothic pictures of the day, but at the same time, the RKO symbol is at the end of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Chock-a-block of references for the nerd who looks for those things. But at the same time, Gothic, cave, pink. So there we go. And that is in the open cut center fold. What? There you go. I'll show a couple more and then we're going to get into making one. Don't faint, I'm here. Hi, darling, says Paula. Hi, Paula, welcome aboard. So, here we go. This is morning hair, am I right? This is the samurai. This is our vulture, samurai armor, vulture, and what's the other one? Oh, he's curious. You'll find out in a minute how I incorporated that. Morning hair, am I right? What's this? Is this for me? Samurai armor. Sure is. There's the disembodied voice. I'm curious. About what? Am I supposed to wear this? Yes. I'm a vulture. That doesn't make sense. I wrote makes because we make mistakes. Do it. Do you think I should do it? He's asking you. That's why he's looking out at you. What do you think, kids? Yay! Yes! Making dinner here in NL. 8:30 p.m., but so glad I joined. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad to have you. So, do you think I should do it? I know you're the storyteller, but geez, I can't fly like this. Chris! Oh, now we know who the narrator is. What? It's a dumb idea. There's a vulture wearing samurai armor trying to fly. That's cool. There I am. Thumbs up. Put myself in that one. So, you can do all kinds of fun things with this limited amount of space because you've got 8 frames of story to use. Even though, here we go for another example, you might only do 4, 6 images instead of 8. Like I showed you with the Jewel of Lawn Chairs and how that's 2 page spreads. Overlapping images, but 2 page spreads that we've done this story in. So we're telling a larger story within a limited amount of images to put down. Linda says, thanks everyone for the thumbs up. Thanks very much, Linda. Magical creatures. Dale? Yep. Do you believe in Pegasus? Pegasi? What are they in plural? I'm not sure what they are in plural. So here's these two gardening. Talking about Pegasi. Pegasus? Pegases? Too bad they're gone. They died off in prehistory. They were hunted into extinction by vampires. There's a vampire. There's Dale's image of a Pegasus that he's come up with. It's not a very convincing horse with wings, but that's what Dale's thinking of. They were such magical creatures. So our second character, who I don't know if I've named or not. I don't think I have. Terrible monster. The Pegasus was a beautiful horse with wings, so they know what it actually looked like, and with their imagination. My vampire, though, is less than convincing as well. The Pegasus was a beautiful horse with wings. Come on, they didn't exist. Oh, wait. There's a more convincing vampire. She knows why they don't exist anymore. Wah, wah, wah. But one image, 2-page spread image, 2-page spread image, 2-page spread image. 6 images instead of having to draw 8. But by using our story in this way, we have different layers of story. So one point made, a second point, drawing a conclusion of the first one. So too bad they're gone, salient point. And then they died off in prehistory, were hunted into extinction by the vampires. Here he is imagining that fact. And even though it overlays a little bit, it reads on this page. So each page is used as its own specific marker in a story. However, we've got images of art that spread over the pair of them. So it's the complexity that we apply to our storytelling, even in this limited fashion, is entirely up to how we utilize the space that we have. They're such magical creatures. Pegasus was a beautiful horse with wings. Major point. That's why it's spread out like that. Right? After our debacle of a Pegasus with a vampire. And in our final point, there's our real vampire. So, okay. So this is the sort of stuff. Now this is John and Mixed Media. Pen, marker, paint. No, I think that's ink. On a regular old piece of paper. This is a page from Surat, Octopus, and any letter. But this is done on a jelly-plated surface. So the deep blue and mottled green patterns that are in the back, and the linear patterns that don't make any corresponding sense to the image, like so, are from the jelly plating process. Center cut. And so this is George Seurat's Dilemma. So I've been thinking about that thing you told me about. You're looking for a new style of painting? Well, I have an idea. Your last idea to use dabs, it takes forever to finish a piece. So this is probably a dream. Just hear me out. It's a great idea. Have you considered bubbles? Oh, I love bubbles. Brought to you by the letter B. Bubble starts with the letter B. Nonsense, right? It's all about what we do with the space that we have and how we go about stuff. Hey, you! Like our armadillo tools, and talking about how somebody's hypotheses about what armadillos could use hammers. That's nonsense. Here's our boisterous blinking beaver, the jewel of lawn chairs. And last one I'll show you. There's more. I've got a bunch more. Action stories give me goosebumps. Here's a couple of things where I'm narrating a trip that I took over a couple of these pages. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. All of them. Let me tell you, my people have a lot of eyes. So earlier, I laid my eyes on this feast. It looked like an absolute banquet. In the middle of this box of donuts, I saw it, though. Another attempt at invasion by the denizens from the micro-dimension. These guys are the worst, for sure. My people, the Great Brotherhood of Flies, have been holding them off forever. So then we get into the fly having a shooting match with the aliens that live in a donut-shaped spaceship while hiding out in a donut box. Eventually, I hit it I hit something that made their spaceship blow up completely, which is like great, right? Except now I have nothing to feast on and no evidence to show all my brothers. It's hard enough to hold their attention in the first place. They're so annoying. So anyways, I figure I totally saved the world. You're welcome. No charge. Nonsense. It's how we explore and play with story, and using this kind of sort of a format, and which has definable limitations in some regards and no limitations in others. So look, if we know, so I'm going to show you two examples here. One with this and one with this. Now, pay attention, folks. Here's how we're going to do this for those that haven't done it before. So clever. Thank you, Paula. Oh, lots of X's. You're a master at telling whole story in just a few words. Hi, Salty. How you doing? Donut spaceship? Hey, you know, comes to mind, it comes to mind. So, the suggestion for that was donut, fly, and gunfight. That's for the suggestions for that page. So I folded this piece of 8.5 by 11 paper in half. Top down, half. Top down, bottom up, both of them the same thing, folks. So we're going to make our fold along that side. So we've now got 2 equal planes. Wait, no, we got 4. Anyways, so we've got 2 equal sides. Now we're going to do the same thing. Like I said before, bottom up, side to side, same thing, right? We're going to put another fold across so that we've now basically got 4 images. Now, here's something I say to the kids, okay? If you've got 4 images that you want to make a little booklet from, cover, inside, inside, back cover. Great way to start. Stop folding as of now, and you're good to go. We actually have a takeaway in Amsterdam, hence the NL, folks, by the way, Netherlands, called the Flying Donut. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to see a picture of that flying donut. Lori's coming. My wife is coming over to the Netherlands this month, end of the month. She, her sisters, and her mom are going to visit her mom's twin sister. And all of her other siblings that are still with us, and nieces and nephews, and great nieces and great nephews, and great great nieces and great great nephews. So, Lori's mom is a twin. So she and her sister are really remarkable because despite spending many years apart in different countries on different hemispheres of the globe, they, well, I guess it's the same hemisphere, but different, pretty close to different sides. Not necessarily, but you know what I mean. When they walk side by side, they still walk the exact same way. When they turn to look at what's being said to them, they both turn the same way. It's remarkable. Anyhow, she's going to Friesland. For those of you that might not know the Netherlands, if this is the shape of the Netherlands here, okay, Friesland is up there. So, okay, so if you want to do a 4-page story, there you go. But Chris, I don't want to do it like that. Okay, well, you can also do it like a card. So, you can have your cover, inside, inside, back cover. It's the same piece of paper, 2 different directions, portrait or format, or portrait or landscape format, I'm sorry. But for those of you that want to continue on, here we go, you ready? So far. Now, we take our paper and we fold from one side into the center. If you butt it up against the center, your piece of paper, and then you make a little squish right there, and you fold up this way, it's even. Okay? Just a little insight there. Let's do the same thing. I'll show you flat down instead of doing it up in the air. Now we move it into the butt of the middle, right? Butt it up against that center point. Okay? And then we go. A little squish right there. And then fold, fold. So now we have 8 equal sized panels. Okie dokie. So I think I'm going to do this in this format for folding. okay, which is the accordion fold. So basically I'm just taking, I folded it over once, and then I'm just taking these sides and I'm folding them like so. So it's a big old W. What? So there's the accordion fold, whereas for this crazy kid, I'm going to fold once in the center, like so. You're going too fast. Rewind and pause. So, take a piece of scissors and make a serration across the center there. Little cut, pair of scissors, and have it end at your fold. And it does the same thing on the other side. So cool. Okay, so I spent 20 years trying to learn Dutch. Meet Fries friends. No clue what they're saying. Well, Laurie's dad was from southern Holland. And Laurie's mom was from Friesland. So they did not speak the same kind of Dutch. Now, Laurie's mom could speak Laurie's dad's Dutch as well. So she spoke Friesland form of Dutch and the same kind of standardized Dutch that Laurie's dad spoke. So we've made our cut across the center. We've opened it back up again. Right? So, and now we fold it over once. See how it opens up at the center? So we want to make sure that we'll run our fingers along here, along the creases, so that it keeps this memory. And then we're going to fold it across the middle. Not perfect, but it works. And there's our book, fold out central book from a central spine, right? Accordion book, spine book. We did it together. Go team, go. Hey, hey, hey. All right, so I'm going to use this, and I'm going to fold it back open again. Now, with this in mind, knowing that our book folds like so, this is the cover. Where's the cover? On the back of the last panel at the top. That's the cover. I'll make a note of this for folks, right? I'll do it in pencil so it doesn't get the word cover in the center. So, cover. See how I did that upside down? That's for you. Now, like Zine on. There we go. So this is our back cover. So this is where, wait a minute. Nope, I'm wrong. This is our back cover directly beside it. I'm such a turkey. I was thinking about the other one. Right, there's our back cover. And so here's spread 2 is what this is. Spread 1, spread 2, spread 3, back cover. So we can choose to do each of these pages on our folded up piece of paper as individual images and therefore individual story points, or we can do them as spreads in the sections that we have two-page opportunities to do so. We'll figure it out as we go. Let's find a suggestion to work from. Liz says, hi to Salty. It doesn't matter. If we connect and have fun, it's always hilarious to figure out what we're all on about. Big hugs for Lori. There we go. All right. So, where's that? I don't know. Okay. So, we've got our book, the magic book. Hey, I'm a book. Look at me. I'm a book. I got pages. I'm a book. I'm a book. Let's see what we got. So we've got a few. I'm just looking to see if I have any. I've got a three-word suggestion: gel print, telegraph, and writing. Why don't I save that for a jelly-plated paper? Blank doodle. I don't know what that means. Roots and peony, the flower. Peony. All right. Blank doodle, roots, and peony. I'm going to write them down right here. Blank doodle, roots and peony, if that's spelled correctly, the flower or the fleur, which would be incorrectly spelled. So, yeah, we all speak the language of love. Okay, so one of the things that I'll do, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to let you in on one of another one of my silly jokes. A silly yoke. Let me see if I can find it. I move something and it disappears forever. Well, I'll do it later. I've got a fun, oh, here it is. I got a fun ruler. So I like to have small rulers to use. Like that's why I use this knitting needle measuring ruler, because they're handy to have a small ruler like that. And this has got a cleft in the top so that I can put it on a little hook over here at the side of my desk. But this ruler is because I'm always second guessing my measurements, right? And then I found a ruler that says, trust in the Lord. You get it? Don't worry about your measurements. Anyways, so I'm going to flip this over. And now, because I put my writing on the back, right? And now I got to reverse that fold. So I'm just going to use a ruler to do that. Now we're working on the opposite side of the same piece of paper. So I'm going to open this up. And right there, there's our cover. So what do we got? We got blank doodle, roots, and peonies. So let's start with the roots. Okay, I'm going to just jump right over into a pen. How does this show up? Oh, that's a dry pen. It doesn't show up very well at all, does it? No, it doesn't, Chris. Oh, that's a terrible pen. Look at how beat up that is. Oh boy, I know what this is. I've grabbed a bunch of materials that I take to the London Comic Jam, and when people use my stuff, they get all rectified. So, all right, so there's our cover. So let's start by drawing the roots of a tree. Sound good? Sound good, folks? Anybody got any other suggestions? Roots, blank doodle, and peonies. Oh, Seven's back. Hi again, Seven. Okay, so roots, blank doodle, and peonies. How about we do this? Let's start off with this. I'm going to do this really quick. How's that sound? Sounds great, Chris. Oh, I'm so glad. What in the world is all that nonsense? I'll tell you in a second. I'll show you. This is one of my weirdo ways of drawing a tree. So here's our tree. Okay, so we'll put some more little bits and scribbles in there. So we'll put our title on top of this thing. Oh, lurking. All right, so I've got this black Posca pen, and the only reason I've switched to this is because it was the closest thing that I reached for. So I've got a really good joke set up already for myself here, really. Who are we kidding? These jokes aren't for other people. Nobody laughs at my weirdness. There we are. It's amazing. I'm going to have to squeeze some more paint out of this sucker because I'm trying not to if you haven't figured that out yet. Or maybe this pen's had its time on this planet here. Let's switch to a Sharpie. I keep grabbing from the same worn out box. Here we go. It's a jolly old day with Mary. It's amazing what you, and I mean you, what you can discover while had to make the letters smaller to fit them in. You are doodling. Now, I'm not going to go around, trace it all around those letters right now because that's boring and I don't want to leave you unconscious this early in the stream. Show you a couple. Picked up the dead one. See, I got to stop reaching in this box. Close the box. Keep reaching in a box of dead pens. There we go. Oh, the technology that works, huh? So by putting a little highlight of white around these letters here is going to make them jump off the background. And we still got our tree in there, right? So it's amazing what you can do, what you can discover while you are doodling. So that'll be our cover page. I used to say that's my, that's my theory. I don't say that anymore because, I was reading something and it was talking about how a theory is such a limited and rare thing pertaining to something very specific. So when I have a theory, no, it's probably not your theory. People have probably thought of it before. So I got to stop saying I have a theory because I don't. Just like you're not a genius, but you can have a genius for something, right? Language. Okay, so anyways, that's what I'll end up doing for this first page. Let's get on to the next one. So there's our cover. So then we go to our first page. So I'm going to go into the tree again, right? And so what I'm going to do this time, though, is that, well, this is really loose and, rough how I've put together this one. I'm going to spend a little more time on our tree here. Should probably go right up to the edge of the frame. So the way I'm drawing this tree is that I'm just following the direction of the lines that take up the trunk of the tree, and I'm following them down into the roots. Now, there's a silly part of me that wants to draw the band The Roots. They were for a, I can't remember what the talk show was, but they were the house band for, or maybe still are, the house band for some late night talk show. But before that, they do all kinds of really kind of cool and kind of neat funk jazz. What am I missing here? Dream for the future. White pens that actually work longer than 5 minutes. There we go. Oh, thanks very much, Seven. That's very nice. Okay, so I'm drawing in our tree trunks as they're moving their way down to the ground. So if you're ever, when we think about objects, we think about them from basically the outside in. You think about the shape of something, and then you start getting concerned about the fiddly bits as you go along. And oftentimes that can lead you into traps, because if you come up to the fiddly bits later, you'll realize, oh, I didn't leave any space for the fiddly bits. Now what do I do? So if you just try to think about some of those things as you're going, then you won't leave yourself in a pickle. I love pickles. Okay. So here's drawing some tree in the background. Or some leaves, I'm sorry. Good heavens, Christopher. So we're just emulating grass with some little slashy shapes that your human brain goes, hey, I think that's grass. So the idea that I have for this first panel is to put over top of it the text that says, you know, if you get right down to the root of the problem. See what I did there? Root. All right, let's says, who's ready for the infamous 20 questions? All right, folks. Let's go. Here we are. Come on, Liz, hit us. Don't hit me, I'm sensitive, but you know what I mean. I'm going to keep going on this while Liz is getting us with the first question. Tired of holding that up. Okay. So I'm going to go back to our little jelly pen. And I'm just going in these spots in between the great lines that I've put down. And starting to give a little more dimension to our tree. Can't bark at that joke. Oh my goodness. We got one from Liz? What do we got? Justice or mercy? Hey, why don't you start off with a soft topic? Justice or mercy, folks? Does anybody lean one way or the other? Justice or mercy? Black or white? If people want to throw in their idea on that one, you're welcome to do so. I'm really debating that in my head right now. I know that we're supposed to say mercy, but we live in a world of difficult situations. And I'm sure that there's a lot of gray areas that a lot of people are going to have about which way to go, and I can't speak one way or another. There you go. 7, or should I call him Batman here, has said, sometimes justice is mercy. Well, there you go. I'm gonna be a troublemaker and say, sometimes mercy is justice. You know, somebody does a terrible thing and are incarcerated for a long period of time to, I don't know, some people would say suffer, other people would say think about what you've done or bear the responsibility of what you've done. You know, as opposed to ending that person's life as a mercy. But, you know, incarcerating a person, confining them for their existence. I know whatever it is that they've done, but that's And I don't know if that's necessarily merciful. You know, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'm this much of a. I don't want to say I'm a devil's advocate because I don't feel like I am, but um, I'm not a fence sitter. I weigh things out a lot. I don't know if that's the answer anybody's looking for. I was reading something interesting recently about all the different systemic rules that can be applied. Like people know about or laws, principles like that. Like people say Murphy's Law, when things go awry. Um, I got a kick out of this. I wish I could remember some of those to pass on because I didn't realize some of these were things, but it's just an interesting article. I don't know that there's legitimacy to their presentation, but it was just kind of funny to think about that. We live in a time where what the media says this thing is valid to talk about. This is warranted to spread this information around the world, but other things they don't. And people might think I'm immediately talking about, they're not giving us the truth, and they're reporting these people's agenda. That's not actually what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, why do we always got to have these big stories? Why can't we hear about, the excitement of Sally Jenkins just got herself a new kitty? You know what I mean? Why don't we celebrate those moments? The kids, here we are at the local craft or science fair, I guess would be. And here's all these people that are learning about science, all these young people. And here's the local craft fair, and look what all the local artisans are doing. There's too much about terrible, terrible junk right off the top of the news. And, I don't even know how I got on that tangent. So here's our first image. Here's a tree. Hopefully it looks like a tree to other people. That's a tricky thing about just making marks and using these expressive marks in a symbolic way to try to represent things, recognizable to some extent, so that other people can engage with this dialogue with us by saying, oh, I think that squiggle over there looks like a rowboat. I understand this is about rowboats now. The most important chip and its best dip? Yeah, why not? Why not, Seven? That'd be great news. That's a bit subjective too, though, because you're going to have all kinds of people debating that one. You could have a viewer poll. What is the best chip and the best dip? 2 answers, please. And then you could take a survey of the viewer poll and write down all the answers as they come in and announce that according to those that involve themselves in polls in the city or region of our choosing. Oh, Squeaky's here. They all like barbecue chips dipped in peanut butter. Yes, hi. Okay, I'll put you on. Come on. So this is for those that haven't met Lucy yet. You coming up? Hello. Hello. Can I pick you up? Oh, don't pick me up, old man. This, for those that haven't met her, is Lucy. We call her Squeaky. You gonna squeak for the camera? No? No, now she's quiet. Okay. So this is our new little friend who lives with us now. She looks exactly like she could possibly be the child of Corbin and Baby, which is really funny. Corbin is 14 now, and he does not have the energy to keep up with Lucy. She has got a lot of energy. Hello. She's right here, sitting on my leg as we're working. Head button. Just like Corbin. They like to headbutt these guys. Okay, so there's our next panel. Now, you know, we could spend X amount of time fiddling about and trying to add some more things to this, but it works, you know. Oh, 7 thinks you're gorgeous, Lucy. Oh my gosh. All right. There she is. One more time. Say bye, Luce. I got to put you down. See you later, everybody. Well, no, that's Corbin's voice. See you later, everybody. There we go. Now you make squeaky noises. Huh? All right. Okay, so there's the start of our page. So we've got this. I wanted to show the top. This is their starting point, and then we go right into our narrative as we move across. And then the second turn of that, of course, is that when we draw our image here, we have to remember to flip the page over to do our other images upside down. Oh, you're turning me. Anyways, so that's the only thing to consider. So if it is a benefit to you to take your piece of paper and to write down cover, back cover, upside down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then flipperooski, 5, 6, 7, and 8, or 0, right? It's all how you utilize that. I mean, 1 and 2 could be a single image, 3 and 4 could be a single image, 1 and 2 can be a joined image, you know, 3 could be a single, 4 could be a single, 5 to 6 can be a joined image. It's all how you use your page. And this works for this format. When you're doing the accordion style, it's the same thing. It's just a little more tricky in our layout, right? So in our accordion style, all right, let's open it up. We got our cover. We have our back cover. Now, when we open it up, we go cover, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and what have I done? Whoops, this isn't, yes. Oh, and this is that's right. Okay, I figured out what I was doing now. This is our extra story. So extra 1, extra 2. So what I did when I did, which one's Armadillo Tools? Here it is. So when I did Armadillo Tools, how I did it was on our cover, we got, hey you, and then there's our story. And then there's our ending. And then I added an extra joke. Maybe I saw it with a chainsaw. Armadillo mask, right? Maybe I saw it with a chainsaw. You get it? Anyways. And then just the other guy jumps out of him with the mask and scares him. Nonsense. So, you know. It says, easy one, cats or dogs? Oh, geez, I don't know where I stand on that. So, I think everybody knows where I stand on that. Yeah, clearly a cat person. Yeah, so there's our page. So there's our start. What are we at? An hour 15. I think I need to wrap up today at this point simply because I have a couple of things coming up. And unfortunately, I have a call that I have to be on in 14 minutes. And I got a couple of things I got to get done before I jump on that call. So, so please, folks, I'll have this posted for tomorrow, but take a look at approaching these sorts of, whoops, there you go, these sorts of opportunities for storytelling. You know, it's, 2 dogs in my life and lots of cats. Oh, there you go. And there's a cat person. You just popped in the kitchen. Did Chris just add an extra goat? All right, so yeah, please try to use chances like this as they come along. And if you have to make notes like this for yourself in order to figure out how to go about that, if you're questioning about how do I fold this, how do I cut this, feel free to go back in the video and check those things out. These are fun. These are fun things to do. And sometimes when you've got little people around you or other people that you're trying to engage a gang, or maybe if you've got a craft group that meets each month, the self-actualization, like the process of folding these, is like an investment into the creative process, the creative making at that point. When you sit down with people and they fold these up together themselves, it really does help to get a sense of where the cover is, and so on and so forth, especially when many people will simply work page at a time. So, and it really helps them to keep track of where things are in relationship to each other. Linda says, my kids and grands came last week and we had a zine party. Oh, Linda, come on. There we go. Brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. It's like I'm reading your mind, Linda. It's like we've connected through time and space on this. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. Linda says, thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks everybody taking part in chat and having fun. I hope that things like this are interesting to you. You can find all kinds of different ways and mechanisms in order to tell a story. It doesn't have to be just limited to one, format or another. Even in doing a zine style thing, you can present it in a number of different ways. So, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Thank you very much, Linda, the moderator of the Mostest. And I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST, bright and shiny. We've got another page planned for you for tomorrow and another bit of fun. I don't know, maybe we'll do some more of these this week. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now.